All right, so we are joined by my friend right here in Jackson, Dr. Zonzie McLaurin. Just a resume that I'll put up against anybody's. This is our college career readiness class here at Velma Jackson High School. I've got a room full here with me here. We're recording this for our friends at Rosa Scott, Madison Central, Germantown High School, Ridgeland High School, the alternative school, and the our YouTube channel. So we thank you so much for joining us. We're in the Human Services Career Cluster. We just left the Health Science Career Cluster, which you have a background in as well, but you've kind of moved into the human services side of it, which is so broad and so
Yes.
needed in a very fast growing area that you've gotten into. So when you before we get into what it is you do on a day-to-day basis, take us back. You're from Clarksdale, Mississippi in the Delta. I was born in the Delta as well, so I have a heart for my Delta people. So Clarksdale, Mississippi, take us from there to your college background and how you got to where you are.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Greg. And hello to all the students. I can't see your beautiful faces, but good morning. I'm so honored to be a part of this series with Mr. Pickett. Greg is just
I
awesome.
get
Awesome. Awesome. That's wonderful. And so, yes, I am a native of Clarksdale, Mississippi, in the heart of the Delta. I think it sits right there with the bullseye on it. Born and raised there. I was sharing this story just the other day. My grandparents raised me, and I would have not realized that I was extremely poor because they never showed it. And so, born and raised in Clarksville, Mississippi, I knew, just growing up, playing around the town, going to school, that I wanted to do something bigger and better. And I stuck to my goal. And I'm going to share a little bit of that with you in just a second. But, when you stick to your goals, man, great things can happen. And so as I progressed, in middle school and went on to high school, and my grandfather passed, we moved to Jackson, Mississippi. And here is where the adventure started. And so I tell everyone, your journey is very different each stage of your life. So students, listen to me loud and clear. Each journey is going to be so different, but you must embrace it and learn from your lessons. So as I progressed in school, I was really, Greg will not believe this, but I was extremely shy. I mean, so shy to the point I was like, oh my God, please don't ask me a question in class. I don't want to say anything now. You can't get me to stop talking. So the exciting part about my journey is this. I wanted to be a supermodel. Believe it or not, I am actually a little shy from 6 feet tall, and I just wanted to be on the cover of magazines and travel the world. Guess what? I got an opportunity to do that, but I also focused on my grades. So I was a very good student. Even though I was shy, I still kept my head down in my books, and I really excelled in, math and science and my English courses. But right after I graduated from high school, I got an opportunity to move to Dallas, Texas. And when I got to Dallas, Texas, I was actually just finishing a run. I went to school there, and I was finishing a run, and this little lady pulled up beside me and she said, how tall are you? And I told her my height, and she said, here's my card. Take it. Again, I'm in a new city, didn't know who she was. Took the card, put it in my pocket, didn't see it for a couple of weeks. And when I finally was washing that particular set of clothes, I saw the card in my pocket. Go figure, right? Pulled out the card, looked at it, and I said, oh my goodness, this is a modeling agency. So I ended up giving her a call, and she's been my friend ever since. So I got to model, and you won't believe this, but I got to hang out in New York and Miami with Fashion Week, and just traveled all around I got to travel all around the country here. And I got to meet Tyra Banks, Linda Evangelisti, Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell. I got to model with those ladies for a short time, and it was fun, fun, fun. But then one day I realized that, hey, this is a lot of work. And the entertainment business is just what you see on TV. It cannot be very nice. And so, God said, I gave you what you asked for, but now I need for you to do what I really need for you to do. And so that's when I dove into my studies, and I got my bachelor's in health sciences administration, then moved on and got my master's in public health. And then I have my doctorate in healthcare administration. And my entire professional career has been here in Jackson, Mississippi, at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. So I am born and raised here at the medical center. I've got to see buildings being built. I've got to be a part of bringing and implementing some amazing longitudinal studies, some observational studies, some community participatory studies. So it has been an amazing, amazing career. And I want to say this to all the students: your education is priority. And that may mean, and I know Greg's not going to like me saying this, but sometimes your education is not in the classroom. Life, yes, life will teach you as much as a book in the classroom will teach you. So make sure that everything that you're a part of, you can retain it. No one can ever take your education away from you. They may be able to take your freedom. They may be able to take your car, your coat, your jacket, whatever that may be. But your education and your knowledge and your wisdom that you have for yourself, no one can ever take away from that. So truly invest into yourself, and know that sometimes that means that journey may not be fun. You may not get to hang out with your friends and do all the fun things that they're doing. But when you invest solely in yourself and you stick to your goals and to your gut and what you know is your purpose, let me just tell you, amazing things can happen. And know that your passions that you have will ignite the purpose that you have. They actually tickle your fancy and really push you toward your purpose. So stick to your purpose. I know each of you are young, but there is so much for you to learn throughout this journey. So really put your head down. Don't take that head up and just to get a breather, but really soak in everything that is being taught to you in the classroom. And I will say this to you: healthcare is an amazing field. It is one of those disciplines. I like to say this a lot. It's going to be kind of difficult for you to not find a job. All right. And for me, with my background in health services and education and in research, wow, I can kind of go across the gamut with human services, management, project implementation. I do a lot of coaching with faculty, students, and staff. I've been teaching at Belhaven University for the last 15 years, and that has just been such a blessing. So when you really find your groove, so to speak, when you really dive into your momentum of what you want to do in life, you actually, and I love telling the story, you actually hold that pen or that pencil. And remember, don't let anyone take that pen or pencil away from you, because you have the power to write your own story. So don't get distracted. Stay the course, stay the path, do what you need to do, have fun along the way, but also remember the priority of investing in yourself. And that truly is your education and the knowledge that you bring and hone on in for you. Greg, do you have any questions?
Yeah,
So I talk fast.
yeah, you talked about a few things that I really wanted to hit on. One is and one thing I always say is, success, especially in the health science, human services field, is that it's not easy. It's not quick, and it's not easy. But so many people have made great careers out of it, and it's recession proof. It's recession proof. It's pandemic proof. So the opportunities are going to be there, whether you are on the clinical side or or like you on more the administration, counseling side, coaching side, and especially with the trends of our country that has changed. There is no longer a stigma on mental health. There is no longer a stigma on professional development. And that's where
Correct.
you come into play to get people past mental obstacles, to get staffs on the same page to work better as a team. And there's a
Absolutely.
huge need for that.
Absolutely. And so I just want to chime in on that part and really add to it. COVID is a very good example. We saw mom and pop stores close, which were so, unfortunate. We saw the Walmarts and all of those stores kind of condense staff because we were just in a pandemic. But in healthcare, we were fighting really hard to keep our staffs healthy and whole and continue not only our research, but continue to teach, continue to educate. So there are so many different disciplines in the world of healthcare that you can do. You can be a tech, you can be a nurse, you can be a doctor, you can be a researcher, you can be an environmentalist, you can be a scientist, you can be a project manager, you can be an executive assistant. It is across the gamut of what you can do in the field of healthcare. And I just charge each of you students to see healthcare for what it is. And it is an ever growing field that we will always need someone to do something within it, even if it's to produce machinery, produce some technology. We need those supplies that are needed in the hospital rooms and in the clinics. So there's just so much to do in the world of healthcare. So I really want to challenge you to explore the field and really find a piece of it that you love. There's so much you can do, and I really want to throw this out there. My husband, Greg knows my husband. He is what I call a super nurse. He is amazing. So for our young men in the room or that will be watching this, don't rule out going into the field of nursing as a male, because as a male in the field of nursing, my goodness, they are in demand. So that's a good field to go
Yeah,
in.
our guest Tuesday said the same thing about when you think about diversity, you don't think about men being what's needed in
Mhm.
diversity, but there is a huge need for male nurses. It's not like the 70s and 80s where only women would
No,
go into nursing. Um,
absolutely.
and it's not just the stuff you see on TV either. There are a lot of nurse educators that are needed.
Yes.
And then, and you hear the floor nurses talk about, sometimes there's no men around and they need a man's
Mhm.
strength to help move a patient that's heavy,
Oh, yeah.
to
Oh,
help
yeah.
move some of the heavy equipment because and I'm not trying to say women aren't strong, but sometimes you need extra muscle in a physical type job.
Oh, absolutely. So important. My husband says it all the time with, the staffs that he leads at the VA Medical Center. He said, we've got these nurses that come in and we've got patients that are twice their size. So they just, come in the room, do what they have to do and continue to do that caregiving that they need to do. So absolutely, there are no boundaries anymore for men in the world of nursing. So I really think that that is such a field that is so nourishing, and it is one that is so fulfilling. So really think about it, my young man. It's something that you can do, and I really charge you to do your research on it.
Yeah, and not just that, you hear a lot of kids say, "I want to be a doctor," but nurses they can change specialties. Doctors can't change specialties.
Can't change.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money as a doctor, but one, it takes a long time to get there. But two, once you become that specialty doctor, that's what you're locked into.
Oh,
If you want
absolutely.
to do, by all means, you need to do it. But if you're a kind of person that wants to change the scenery from time to time, nursing could be a great route for you.
Oh, I agree with you. And just to piggyback off my husband again, he actually um, applied for medical school, got into medical school, and decided wasn't what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a nurse. And again, it's because the variety of the positions. And I say this too, as a nurse, there is so much that a doctor can do by himself, but there is a lot that a nurse can do without a doctor, if that speaks loud and clear. So nursing is a very good field to go into. I actually thought about it in my beginnings of my career, and then God just said, mm-mm, I have the path that I need you to follow. And I've absolutely enjoyed, being an educator, a researcher, and administrator. I have that multidisciplinary experience, and it has been very, very rewarding. And, I just want to throw this out too for our cultures of African Americans and people of color. It's a field that we really need for more of us in the room and at the tables, especially from the education and the research perspective, because we are removing a lot of the myths and debunking some of the myths, but we need more people of color in research. We need more people of color in the rooms where we're making those decisions so that our voices can be heard. So don't ever underestimate your voice. It is needed, and you have the power to really step out there and say, I'm going to own my purpose, and I'm going to get into this field and do the best that I can do.
Now, I do want to talk about as far as your entrepreneurship side, because you provide
Yes.
a lot of coaching on business strategy, on personal strategy. You really deal a lot with people overcoming mental health obstacles. And
Yes.
like we said, the stigma is off of that, especially, or it is starting to be removed in the Black community, which has been needed for years. And
Yes.
you are doing a lot of things when it comes to working with staffs, even in non-medical areas.
Yes.
How did you kind of move into that, and why is there a need for people in that field as well?
Oh, absolutely. So when COVID hit, I disengaged all of my staff out of the office, and I was the only one coming in. So I had lots of time to think and meditate, and because things were a little slow. And during my meditation time, God just spoke to me. He said, I've given you such great gifts and talents. Now it's time for your voice to be heard on a larger platform. And I was like, okay, well, great. I'm going to follow your lead. What do you have for me to do? And he said, well, you got to get on social media. I said, oh, no, oh, no. Oh no, because I had swore against getting on social media, but that led me to really think about my gifts and my talents that God has given me. And they are very broad. And along in my career, I've always mentored and coached individuals. But God said, I need for you to do that on a broader spectrum. And so, yes, I do coach entrepreneurs and executives and organizations in the realms of their business strategies and operations and their mindset and how to transform and be the best versions of themselves, going from that fixed mindset to a growth mindset and helping them really remove those limiting beliefs. And that's something that I want to talk on briefly with the students. When your mind tells you no, you need to talk back to it and say, yes, I can. And every day, know that you have the ability to do whatever you put your heart and your mind into doing. And that means that you've got to shift your mindset to say, Grandma, my aunt, or my uncle may have not been able to do that, but I am a new breed and I can do it. And so you have to step out. And Greg sees me preaching on this a lot. You have to get uncomfortable. And when you stay too comfortable, guess what? You have no movement. There's a such thing as, hey, I can, walk in place, I can run in place. But when you're doing that, you're not moving, right? You're not taking one step forward. So you have to get uncomfortable to say, I may not have tried this strategy. I may not have done this before, but I'm going to get uncomfortable. So yes, Greg, just to answer your question, I have been doing some amazing things with some entrepreneurs that I have been coaching and are coaching, where they are doing tremendously well in their businesses when it comes to their strategies and their operations, and they're scaling their business to grow and be the best that they can be. And two, I coach on a personal lifestyle realm as well, where I am actually engaging individuals to push the limits, to move the envelope, so to speak, and to really focus on the I can and the I will and the I am. So it's a blessing to be able to do that.
Yeah, and a lot of times somebody's main obstacle is themselves,
Oh, absolutely.
especially with your healthcare background, there could be an undiagnosed mental illness, and it
Mhm.
can be something.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's not really serious, but an undiagnosed mental illness with somebody with a health service background can help somebody overcome that because maybe their family didn't have the resources, maybe they didn't have the
Absolutely.
information, and
Absolutely.
whether it be from a therapy side or a medication side, that can change somebody's life.
Oh, quickly, quickly. And I have come across that, Greg, where I've been in coaching sessions with individuals and I'm going, there's something a little bit more deeper here why you're not getting the movement that you need. And I will refer them to my colleagues. And we have, discovered that there are some dormant issues that, medication can help or some additional therapy can help them. So you're absolutely on target with that response.
Yeah, and it's so important to understand that especially with these young, when you get into college, there's you're gonna have those obstacles, and
Yes.
and there's no shame in having
Mm,
a mental health issue, but there is such a need for people to get into these fields.
absolutely.
We need, especially these young Black kids, to get into these fields to
Yes.
help people in similar situations.
Yes, we need our social workers, we need our counselors, we need our therapists, we need our psychologists. We need you because you live in that culture and you understand it. And so they're facing individuals that don't look like them and don't understand what they're going through. So we need people of color to really get into these disciplines so that we can have a voice, but also understand the person on the other side that needs that treatment. So absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, I do have some questions from the students, and these are all ninth,
Yes, ninth graders.
all of them are ninth
Awesome.
graders. This first one is to Kayla Williamson, one of our
Okay.
cheerleaders here at Velma Jackson, and she asked, "What do you love most about working with patients?"
Oh my gosh. What I love most about working with patients is I get to hear their stories. I get to, and although I'm not a medical doctor, but I do get to be a part of the journey of their improvement and their process and their progress. I get to see that person change their life. I get to see that person, developed into an individual that they probably didn't think that they needed or could be. So it's the sweetness of the change for me that I get to see. So that's one of the most heartfelt and fulfilling parts of just interacting with patients and clients and customers is to see the change. So it's just wonderful. It's wonderful to know that you have made a difference, that you have given someone the right guidance and the nurturing to get them to be better and to progress in their lives.
Absolutely. This is Rashunta Pierce, one of our basketball players here. And she,
Yes,
of all of your accomplishments, what is your favorite one?
my favorite one is, and I wouldn't say it's my accomplishments. My favorite thing that I love to do and who I am is that I'm a servant. I want to serve. I want to give back. That is who I am at the core of my being. It doesn't matter my degree or the letters behind my name, but if I know that I can wake up every day and help someone, I'm good. I can give it a check mark. I can go home and sleep very peacefully, knowing that I've served someone and to help them along a journey that I can help make better. So that is what I love most about every day of my life.
That's awesome. This is Amari Williams, and he asked, "What drove you to choose this profession?"
Say that again.
He asked, "What drove you to choose this profession?"
Oh my goodness. It's the need to make improvement, the need to know that I can make a difference, not only in the lives of my communities, but I can make a difference in the lives across the world, what I do here in Mississippi, because Mississippi, our data is rich. The resources we have here are rich and people use it in all of their research subjects and research projects. So it's knowing that I knew that I could make a difference coming from the heart of the Delta and one of the poorest sections of the country, so to speak, in the United States. I wanted to give back, and I have done that. I've, done some projects in the Delta to help improve it. So to answer your question is knowing that I can make a difference.
That's awesome. This is Nisbick Johnson, and he asked, "As a child, who was your biggest role model?"
Oh, my grandfather. My grandfather was my biggest role model, and he still is to this day. And I'll share this to answer your question a little bit. He stayed on me. Although I was shy, I was a little hard-headed. And, I would go against the grain. He would say, don't do this. And I would, kind of go, oh, well, he told me not to do it that way. I'll do it a little differently. And he would always feed into me. And one of the most important things that he said to me was this. He said, you are a little stubborn, but that is going to make you such an amazing, powerful woman. And I have held that so close to my heart in everything that I have done and achieved in my life. And knowing that I can be a little stubborn, and the word I like to use now is I'm a good disruptor. I'd like to disrupt things in a good way to get people to think, get people to be unbiased, to get people to see outside of themselves and to think collectively. So yes, he was my biggest role model.
Love it. This is Jayla Chambers, and this is a great question.
I'm ready.
Have you ever dealt with a condition or a situation that could not be cured or fixed? And how frustrating was that?
Yes, I must say, and I'll go back to my grandfather because he was my role model. He was my pillar. He was my everything at that young part of my life. And he died from cancer. And as you know, cancer is a very, very bad, disease and condition. And it frustrates me that we are making waves and doing as much as we can to be progressive in our technology and how we're treating cancer. It's still very frustrating to know that we are still fighting this particular condition. So I would have to say cancer is my nemesis that I want to see just eradicated.
I think you'd have a lot of people say the same thing on that because unfortunately, cancer is the ultimate equalizer. It is.
Oh yeah,
It does not discriminate.
it does not.
It's so I'm with you on that one. All right, last one from the students. This is Jarvis Lyles, and he asked, "What was the biggest obstacle you've ever faced to get to where you are now?"
I would have to say one of, because I've had many. You won't have just one big obstacle in your life. You're going to have many. I think one of my biggest obstacles was fighting against the people that should have been my support system.
Wow.
And I will say this, you're going to have your naysayers. You're going to have individuals that look at you and they see your power. They see your strength. And it's just something about you that they will push against you because they're a little intimidated. So one of my obstacles in my career was just pushing back, knowing that I had others pushing and pulling away from me. But the good thing about it, Greg, and was it Jabarius?
Jarvis.
Jarvis. The good thing about that, Jarvis, is this. When you have amazing mentors and amazing leaders in your life, they see your potential and they will go to bat for you. So even though I may have had some of those hiccups and obstacles as I grew and was going up the ladder, having that strong support system was unmatched. It was amazing.
That's awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, and we
Yes.
thank you so much for taking some time for us today. But before we go, you grew up as a Black girl in the Delta,
Yes.
which we all know is one of the poorest spots in the country. But
Yes.
yet you were able to get 3 degrees and become a successful businesswoman and
Yes.
a successful health professional, a successful counselor and coach for so many people.
Mm.
So those obstacles that you talk about, it's not a matter of if they're going to face them, it's a matter of when.
Oh, absolutely.
But
And
even if they don't even want to be in healthcare, if they don't want to work with,
yes,
even if they don't want to work with people. So,
absolutely.
uh,
Life is a journey.
so
It
how can
is
they
a
overcome
journey.
those? How can they overcome those same obstacles to follow in the footsteps of someone like you?
Oh, absolutely. Greg, life is a journey. And don't focus your eyes on the destination. Focus on what you're going through every step of the way. You create your own pathways. You create your own venues. I want each of one, before we close, I want to say this to you. Again, if you have the pen, I need for you to write your own story and know that there are going to be obstacles, challenges in your life, but you fight and you push against them and you change the narrative. You right the wrongs right, if that makes sense. And know that there is nothing in this world that you cannot accomplish. Look at me. Look at Michelle Obama. Look at Barack. Look at Oprah for those that are for color. Look at the people that look like you and they have amazing stories. Oprah, she was fired from her job. Tyler Perry didn't have a high school education. Look at him now. So don't use your obstacles and your challenges as excuses, but I charge you today to use them to push you to be the best versions of yourselves.
That's incredible. Now, before we go, tell us where to find you online. And you got your podcast and a lot of
Oh, absolutely. If you just type in drzonziemclaurin.com, you can find me. I'm updating my website, but on all my social media outlets, it's Dr. Zonzie McLaurin, DRZONZIE McLaurin. And I would love for you to follow me, engage with me, communicate with me, and let me know if there's anything that I can do for you or put you in the right room with the right people so that your voices can be heard. It has been a pleasure today. Thank you, Greg, and thank you everyone in the classroom and for those who will see this later.
Well, I appreciate it. Again, Dr. Zonzie McLaurin, right here in Jackson, one of the most amazing guests we've had. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Take care.
Talk to you soon, my friend.
Bye-bye.